Hey there, UPSC Prelims warriors. Are you ready for another deep dive?
Into today's current affairs.
All right, we've got a mix of news that is as diverse as the UPSC syllabus itself.
Ancient temple rituals.
Groundbreaking science. Even a sneak peek into the future of transportation in India.
Yeah, it's fascinating how these seemingly unrelated topics can all connect back to that bigger picture, right?
Hmm?
That's what we're here to help you with.
Making those connections.
You're ready for
The
anything.
exam throws your way.
Right.
Okay, let's kick things off with a story that sounds like it's straight out of a history book. There's a Supreme Court case going on about an ancient ritual being stopped at the Guruvayur Temple in Kerala.
Yeah, this case revolves around the Udayastamana Puja. It's a ritual performed at sunset.
Oh.
The temple authorities decided to stop it because of concerns about managing the crowds.
Huge crowds, yeah.
It attracts, but some devotees have taken the matter to court. They're arguing that it's a vital part of the temple's centuries-old traditions.
It's kind of like a tug of war between tradition and practicality.
Exactly.
Maybe even a touch of legal debate about the role of religious institutions in a secular state.
Prepping for UPSC.
Right.
This case is a goldmine
Yeah.
for understanding how current events can intersect with history, with culture, and even with legal frameworks.
Now, switching gears to something that could revolutionize healthcare in India. Indian scientists have achieved a major breakthrough with gene therapy for hemophilia A.
Oh, it's a huge
It's huge, yeah.
leap forward. Think about it. Potentially curing a genetic disorder.
Yeah.
Hemophilia A, as you may know, it prevents blood from clotting properly.
Yeah.
It's usually passed down through families, and it predominantly affects males.
The symptoms can be quite serious, right?
Yeah.
I remember reading about prolonged bleeding, even from minor injuries.
Yeah,
And there's the risk of internal bleeding
absolutely.
in joints, which can be debilitating.
And that is where gene therapy comes in.
Yeah.
It essentially replaces the faulty gene with a healthy one.
Potentially curing the disorder at its root.
At its root, imagine the impact this could have on people's lives. And for UPSC, it's a perfect example of how science and technology are shaping our future.
Speaking of shaping the future, the Lok Sabha just passed the Railways Amendment Bill 2024, which is all about modernizing Indian railways. It's a hot topic for the exam for sure.
This bill aims to do a lot. It gives the Railway Board, which has been operating for over a century, its first ever statutory backing.
Wow.
It also proposes creating an independent regulator to oversee things like ticket pricing, safety standards, and private companies' involvement.
Interesting. So it's not just about upgrading trains and tracks.
Right.
This bill is about governance, efficiency, and maybe even a bit of economics, right?
Absolutely. You've got to think about the potential impact on things like investment, competition, and how the regulator will balance the needs of the passengers and the government and the private players.
Okay, now prepare to have your mind blown. Have you heard about the Willow chip?
And quantum computing.
It's next level stuff. Imagine a computer that can solve problems in minutes that would take our regular computer millions of years. That's the power of quantum computing.
Yeah.
And Google's Willow chip is a major step towards making it a reality.
Wow.
Okay, I need the ELI5 version.
Okay.
What is quantum computing exactly?
Think of a regular computer bit like a coin.
Okay.
It can be heads or tails, representing 1 or 0. Now, a quantum bit or qubit is like a spinning coin.
Okay.
It can be heads, tails, or a blurry mix of both at the same time. This blurriness allows it to explore many possibilities simultaneously, leading to massive speed-ups for certain types of calculations.
So it's like having millions of computers working in parallel, all in one tiny chip.
That's a good way to put it. And the implications are huge, from designing new drugs and materials to cracking complex codes and advancing artificial intelligence.
And this isn't just a Silicon Valley thing. India is becoming a major player in these cutting-edge fields. IIT Madras has even built a test track for Hyperloop technology.
Oh, wow.
Talk about futuristic.
It's amazing. Hyperloop uses pods traveling through near-vacuum tubes at incredibly high speeds.
So picture yourself zipping from Delhi to Mumbai in an hour or two.
Right.
It sounds like science fiction,
It could become reality.
but it could become a reality.
It certainly could, but it also brings up a whole bunch of challenges that the UPSC could ask you about.
Like what?
Think about the massive infrastructure needed, the environmental impact, safety concerns, and even the social and economic consequences. For example, how would this affect existing transportation industries and jobs? These are all questions that future policymakers will need to grapple with.
And that's exactly what the UPSC is looking for, candidates who can think critically about the impact of these technologies. Now let's take a break from the high-tech world and dive into the wilds of India. There's a fascinating story about the Indian rock python.
Yes, it's a tale of two populations. While the Indian rock python is facing a decline across much of Tamil Nadu, it's actually thriving in a particular area called the Moyar Valley.
Why is that? Is the Moyar Valley some kind of python paradise?
Well, it seems to offer the perfect mix of what pythons need to survive and thrive.
Like what?
Plenty of prey, suitable habitat, and perhaps most importantly, limited human disturbance. It's a stark reminder of how human activities impact wildlife, even in protected areas.
It's incredible to think these pythons can grow up to 10 feet long.
Right?
And while they're not venomous,
Right.
they are powerful constrictors.
They are, and their conservation status is currently near threatened, which means we need to be proactive in protecting them. This ties directly into the UPSC syllabus, where you'll often find questions about biodiversity, conservation, and the threats to different species.
Okay, we've gone from ancient rituals to cutting-edge science to the fascinating world of wildlife. What's up next on our deep dive agenda?
Let's talk about something that aims to empower young people. The government has launched a scheme called Yuva Sahakar, which is all about supporting young entrepreneurs in the cooperative sector.
It sounds like a great initiative. What exactly does it entail?
It's designed to give young people the resources and support they need to set up and run their own cooperative businesses. It could be anything from agriculture and handicrafts to retail and services.
Interesting. So it's not just about individual businesses,
Right.
but about building a collaborative, community-driven approach to economic growth, right?
Exactly. It ties into those broader themes of economic development, social empowerment, and government schemes that are often featured in the UPSC exam.
And speaking of important figures, today marks the birth anniversary of a truly remarkable personality in India's freedom struggle. C. Rajagopalachari, often called Rajaji.
He was a multifaceted individual, a lawyer, writer, freedom fighter, and later a statesman. He played a key role in various movements, from the non-cooperation movement to the Quit India movement.
It's inspiring to think about his unwavering dedication to the cause of India's independence. He even became the last Governor General of India before the country transitioned to a republic.
His life and work provide invaluable insights into India's journey towards independence and the challenges of nation building. For the UPSC, understanding the roles of key figures like Rajaji is essential for building a solid foundation in modern Indian history.
And speaking of looking beyond our planet, let's talk about NASA's Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer, or IXPE. It's making some incredible discoveries about a newly found X-ray binary system.
Yes, IXPE is like a special set of X-ray glasses that allow us to see things in space that were previously hidden. This particular system consists of two stars locked in a gravitational dance, one of which is likely a collapsed star, like a black hole or a neutron star.
Okay, now you're making my head spin. Can you break down what an X-ray binary system is and why it's significant?
Imagine two stars orbiting each other very closely. One is a normal star like our sun, and the other is a collapsed star, incredibly dense and with immense gravity.
Okay.
This collapsed star pulls matter from its companion, heating it up to millions of degrees and causing it to emit X-rays.
So it's like a cosmic tug-of-war,
You get
where one star is constantly feeding on the other, creating these powerful X-ray bursts.
And IXPE is helping us study the polarization of these X-rays, which gives us clues about the geometry and the physics of these extreme environments.
Wow, it's mind-blowing to think we can study these objects in such detail from millions of miles away.
It is. And for the UPSC exam, remember that space exploration is a global endeavor. India is also a major player in this field, with its own ambitious space program and contributions to international missions.
Well, it seems like we've journeyed from the depths of space to the intricacies of Indian history and even into the future of transportation in this first part of our deep dive.
We certainly have, and remember, this is just the beginning. We'll continue our exploration in Part 2, delving deeper into these topics and uncovering even more insights to help you ace the UPSC prelims.
Welcome back, UPSC enthusiasts. Ready for Part 2 of our deep dive into today's current affairs. We've got more fascinating insights to uncover, connecting the dots between seemingly disparate topics.
That's right. It's all about seeing the bigger picture and understanding how these events and developments are shaping India and the world.
Okay, let's pick up where we left off. We were talking about Hyperloop, this futuristic mode of transportation that could revolutionize travel in India. But as you mentioned, it's not all smooth sailing.
Right.
There are some serious challenges to consider.
Exactly. Imagine the sheer scale of this project. Building those vacuum-sealed tubes across hundreds of kilometers.
Acquiring the land, integrating it with existing transportation networks.
Right?
It's a logistical and engineering marvel.
Yeah.
And then there's the cost.
Yeah.
This kind of infrastructure requires a massive investment. I'm also wondering about safety at those speeds. It must require some seriously stringent regulations.
You're hitting on all the key points. And don't forget the environmental impact.
How will they minimize disruption
Right.
to ecosystems during construction and operation? These are all questions that policymakers, and let's be honest, potential UPSC questions, will need to address.
Absolutely. Now let's shift gears to a topic that's steeped in tradition and culture, the Guruvayur Temple controversy. Remember, this is where a centuries-old ritual, the Udayastamana Puja, was stopped due to concerns about crowd management.
Yes, and some devotees have challenged this decision in court, arguing that it's an integral part of the temple's heritage and shouldn't be discontinued.
The fascinating thing here is that this case highlights the tension between preserving traditions and adapting to modern challenges. Think about it. How do we balance religious freedom with practical concerns like public safety and crowd control?
It's a delicate balancing act. And for UPSC aspirants, this case is a great example of how seemingly local issues can raise broader questions about the role of religion
The judiciary.
and governance in India.
Now let's jump back into the world of cutting-edge science. We talked about the breakthrough in gene therapy for hemophilia A, which has the potential to transform the lives of people living with this genetic disorder.
It's truly revolutionary, isn't it? The idea of potentially curing a genetic disease at its root is mind-blowing. But as with any powerful technology, there are ethical and societal implications to consider.
Precisely. Gene therapy is often expensive, so how do we ensure equitable access?
Yeah.
Who gets to decide who receives this treatment? And are there any unforeseen risks or long-term consequences of altering the human genome?
These are heavy questions, and they're exactly the kind of critical thinking that the UPSC exam demands.
Right.
It's not just about knowing the science, but about understanding its ethical and societal implications.
Now, let's move on to the Railways Amendment Bill 2024, which proposes some significant changes to how Indian Railways is managed.
I remember you mentioned giving greater autonomy to railway zones.
Right.
Could you elaborate on that and why it's generating debate?
Sure. The idea is to give more decision-making power to individual zones, potentially making them more efficient and responsive to local needs. However, some experts worry that this could lead to inconsistencies across different zones and a lack of centralized oversight.
And what about the role of the proposed independent regulator? How would they ensure fair pricing, safety standards, and a level playing field for both public and private players in the railways sector?
It's a tough job. The regulator would need to carefully balance the interests of various stakeholders while ensuring the long-term sustainability and efficiency of Indian railways. It's almost like a microcosm of governance itself, navigating competing demands and making decisions that impact millions of people.
Speaking of navigating complex ecosystems, let's revisit the story of the Indian rock python. We were intrigued by how this species is thriving in the Moyar Valley while facing decline in other parts of Tamil Nadu.
It really underscores the importance of understanding the unique needs of different species and protecting their habitats. The Moyar Valley likely provides the right mix of prey, suitable shelter, and crucially limited human interference, allowing the pythons to flourish.
It's a reminder that conservation isn't a one-size-fits-all approach. We need to tailor our efforts to the specific needs of each species and their environment.
Precisely, and for UPSC aspirants, it's an opportunity to showcase your knowledge of conservation strategies, environmental policies, and the impact of human activities on biodiversity.
Now let's talk about empowering young people. The Yuva Salakar scheme aims to do just that by supporting young entrepreneurs in the cooperative sector.
It's a great initiative, but there are bound to be challenges.
Yeah.
Attracting and retaining young talent in a sector that often faces competition from more glamorous industries is one hurdle.
And what about access to funding and training? Young entrepreneurs often face difficulties securing loans and acquiring the necessary skills to run a successful cooperative.
Absolutely. The scheme needs to address these challenges head-on to be truly effective. For the UPSC exam, think about the broader context of government schemes, their objectives, and the factors that contribute to their success or failure.
We also spoke about C. Rajgopalachari, a remarkable figure in India's freedom struggle. He went from lawyer to freedom fighter to statesman, playing a crucial role in shaping India's destiny.
Rajaji's life is a testament to the power of conviction and the complexities of political leadership. He was known for his unwavering commitment to nonviolence, his role in the Quit India movement, and later, his willingness to take on challenging roles like the Governor General of India.
His story is a must-read for anyone wanting to understand India's transition from colonial rule to independence and the challenges of nation building.
Right, and for UPSC aspirants, it's a reminder that studying the lives and contributions of key historical figures can provide valuable insights into the events and forces that have shaped modern India.
Speaking of looking beyond our planet, we were discussing NASA's IXP observatory and its discoveries about a newly found X-ray binary system. I admit, the concept of these collapsed stars pulling matter from their companions and emitting powerful X-rays is still a bit mind-bending.
It's definitely a concept that takes some time to grasp, but imagine the extreme environment around these collapsed stars. Matter being heated to millions of degrees, intense gravitational forces, and powerful magnetic fields. It's a fascinating area of astrophysics, and IXPE is giving us unprecedented insights.
And it's a reminder that space exploration isn't just about sending rockets into space. It's about pushing the boundaries of our knowledge, discovering new phenomena, and perhaps even finding answers to questions we haven't even asked yet.
Absolutely, and for the UPSC, it's important to be aware of these global scientific advancements and how India is contributing to this field through its own space program and collaborations with international agencies.
Now, let's bring it back down to Earth and revisit the Hyperloop test track that IIT Madras has completed. This project represents India's ambition to be at the forefront of technological innovation, potentially transforming transportation as we know it.
It's a thrilling concept, but as with any disruptive technology, there are crucial considerations that go beyond the technical marvels. Think about the social and economic impact. Will everyone have access to this technology? How will it affect existing jobs and industries? These are questions that policymakers and, yes, future civil servants will need to grapple with.
So it's not just about celebrating technological advancements, but about understanding their broader implications and ensuring they lead to inclusive and sustainable progress.
Exactly, and that's the kind of nuanced thinking that the UPSC exam rewards.
Welcome back, future civil servants. It's the final stretch of our deep dive into today's current affairs. We've covered a lot of ground, from ancient temple rituals
And groundbreaking science.
to the future of transportation and the intricacies of governance.
It's been quite a journey, but remember, the UPSC prelims exam isn't just about knowing the facts, it's about connecting the dots, analyzing different perspectives, and demonstrating that you can think critically about the issues facing India and the world.
Okay, so let's sharpen our analytical skills and revisit some of the key topics we've discussed. Let's start with the Guruvayur Temple controversy. For those aiming to crack the UPSC, how should we approach this case study to showcase our understanding of the complex interplay of tradition, modernity, and law?
Think of it as a multi-layered puzzle. First, you've got the historical and cultural significance of the Udyastamana Puja, this ancient ritual that's at the heart of the debate.
Right.
Then there's the legal aspect, the arguments presented by both sides, and the potential impact of the Supreme Court's decision on religious practices.
So it's not just about saying whether the ritual should be allowed or not. It's about demonstrating that you understand the nuances of the situation, the historical context, the legal framework, and the potential consequences of different outcomes.
Exactly. It's about showcasing that you can analyze a situation from multiple angles, weighing different perspectives, and presenting a well-reasoned argument.
Now, let's shift gears to the breakthrough in gene therapy for hemophilia A. It's an incredible scientific achievement. But what are the socioeconomic considerations that UPSC aspirants should be aware of?
One of the biggest challenges with any groundbreaking medical treatment is accessibility and affordability.
Right.
Gene therapy is often very expensive, so how do we ensure that it reaches those who need it most, regardless of their economic background? It's a question of equity and social justice.
And it raises questions about healthcare infrastructure and resource allocation.
Right.
Are we equipped to provide this kind of advanced treatment on a large scale?
Mhm.
And what about the ethical implications?
You're hitting on crucial points. The UPSC could ask about the potential long-term consequences of gene editing, the ethical guidelines surrounding such technologies, and the role of the government in regulating and overseeing these advancements.
Now let's talk about the Railways Amendment Bill 2024. What are the potential challenges and roadblocks that UPSC aspirants should consider when analyzing this bill?
Think about the complexity of implementing such a large-scale change. There could be resistance from existing stakeholders within the railway system, coordination challenges with different state governments, and the need for robust monitoring mechanisms to ensure transparency and accountability.
Right, and it's crucial to consider the potential impact on employment.
Yeah.
Will these changes lead to job losses in certain areas? How will the government address those concerns? These are all questions that policymakers need to anticipate and address.
Exactly. The UPSC exam wants to see that you can go beyond the surface level and analyze the practical implications of policies and reforms.
Now, let's take a moment to revisit the inspiring story of the Indian rock python thriving in the Moyar Valley. What broader conservation lessons can we draw from this example?
The Moyar Valley's success highlights the critical importance of habitat preservation and minimizing human disturbance. It's a reminder that conservation efforts need to be tailored to the specific needs of each species and ecosystem.
And it's not just about protecting individual species, it's about understanding the interconnectedness of ecosystems and the delicate balance that sustains them.
Absolutely. The UPSC could ask about different conservation strategies, the role of local communities in conservation efforts, and the challenges of balancing development with environmental protection.
Speaking of balancing competing interests, the Yuva Sakar scheme aims to empower young entrepreneurs in the cooperative sector. What key insights can UPSC aspirants glean from this initiative?
It showcases the government's focus on promoting entrepreneurship, especially among youth, as a key driver of economic growth. But it's also about understanding the specific challenges faced by young entrepreneurs in the cooperative sector.
Like access to funding, mentorship, and market linkages.
Exactly. And for the UPSC, it's essential to analyze the potential impact of such schemes, their strengths and weaknesses, and how they fit into the broader framework of economic development and social empowerment.
We also spoke about the legacy of C. Rajagopalachari, a towering figure in India's freedom struggle. Why is it important for UPSC aspirants to study the contributions of such historical figures?
Understanding the motivations, actions, and legacies of key figures like Rajaji provides valuable context for analyzing historical events. It's about seeing the human side of history and recognizing the complex interplay of individual choices, societal forces, and political ideologies.
And it's about drawing lessons from the past to inform our understanding of present-day challenges.
Precisely. The UPSC could ask about Rajaji's role in various movements, his political ideology, his contributions to post-independence India, and even his writings, which provide insights into his thinking and worldview.
Now let's venture back into the realm of space exploration. What broader lessons can UPSC aspirants draw from the discoveries being made by NASA's IXPE observatory?
IXPE represents the spirit of scientific curiosity and international collaboration. It highlights the importance of pushing the boundaries of our knowledge and exploring the unknown.
And it's a reminder that scientific advancements often have implications that extend far beyond the immediate field of study. The technologies developed for space exploration often find applications in various sectors, from healthcare and communications to environmental monitoring and disaster management.
You're absolutely right. The UPSC could ask about the technological advancements driving space exploration, the significance of international cooperation and scientific endeavors, and the potential applications of space technology in addressing terrestrial challenges.
Finally, let's touch upon the Hyperloop test track completed by IIT Madras. This project represents India's aspirations for technological advancement. But what are the key considerations that UPSC aspirants should keep in mind when evaluating such ambitious projects?
It's crucial to look beyond the technological marvel and analyze the feasibility, the potential benefits and challenges, and the ethical and social implications.
So it's about asking tough questions.
Mhm.
What are the potential environmental impacts? Will this technology be accessible to all sections of society? How will it impact existing industries and jobs?
Exactly. The UPSC is looking for candidates who can approach such advancements with a balanced and nuanced perspective, considering both the potential benefits and the potential risks.
Well, folks, that concludes our deep dive into today's current affairs. We've explored a wide range of topics, connecting the dots between seemingly disparate areas and highlighting the key insights that'll help you conquer the UPSC prelims.
Remember, consistent effort, a curious mind, and a willingness to delve deeper into these topics are your greatest assets.
And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful deep dives. We'll be back soon with another episode to help you navigate the vast ocean of knowledge needed for the UPSC prelims. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and best of luck on your UPSC journey.